how we're gonna do this, or what I like to see. Last year we had a different panel. We had like Bob Terrell on the panel, and we had Boris on the panel. How we basically try to make this work is that we want to let you guys hear a little bit more about products that we don't have, how they come to be made, what are we doing with it, and turn this on a little bit, Nesta. And then how we work to make new products and how to make it better, to help you better with your artwork. So we're gonna get into that. The artist's gonna talk about the new upcoming series, what they're having, the new developments. Also at the end, we're gonna go and open it up to you, like how we always do, some questions and answers. So whatever gets raised in between, just make some notes, and then so it's not gonna be a dry seminar. Just go back to school, raise your hand, let us know. You know, any questions go. You can ask me anything you want to besides what the pigment is. So you can ask any questions, how we make it, what we're doing with it, how we're testing it, and how we get the stuff. You guys can also ask whatever you like, you know. So we make this very loose, very open. Whatever is in your mind and you want to hear, let me know. At the end of this, Mark Mahoney, we have a brand new series out. It's called Gangsta Gray. And for all of you, because you're here and you took the time out this early in the morning to come and be part of this, you know, we have a full package for you, so it's yours on the way out for free. Try it out. Let Mark know how it is, and he really is going to appreciate your feedback too. That's how we work with Intense. We try to hear from everybody how you guys like it, what you're doing. Also, we have a little survey at the end, so if you guys want to fill this out, go ahead and do that. It really helps us a lot, you know. So. For the introduction, to the right to me, it's, what's your name?
Mike Tomasi.
Mike Tomasi. Very, very talented tattoo artist. Maybe one of the guys who is mostly responsible for bringing black and gray portraits into the color series. I think it's like he was one of the first one to really put it on the map. And there were a couple of young people where everybody thought they're crazy. And it's pretty good, and today he's part of our team, of our research, the development, that we can come up with some better products. Andy Engel, very talented guy, you know, from Germany. It's unbelievable artist work as well. And then, of course, no introduction, Mr. Mark Mahoney, Shamrock, one of the best black and gray guys out there. You know, very unique style, very unique shade of color, and he's most likely get into it a little bit, how we created this color and how long it took and how many times we had to ship colors back and forth between him and us. Maybe one of the most difficult sets which we created in the past 10 years. So besides he got beat by Andy Engel, we're still working on his. So if you have any questions during the time when an artist speaks, just raise your hand. They're gonna see you and they're gonna pick you out right away. Okay? So learn as much as you can. Drill us as much as you can. It's important. The more you ask, the more we can answer. The more we can, you know, the deeper we can go. So it's like, let's go ahead. You want to say hello, or everybody hello, please?
Well, let's start with Mark here.
Mark, yeah.
Everybody, good morning. Forgive me, I'm not usually a morning person, but I'm here and I'll do the best I can.
It's a Sumo class.
Yeah, hello, I'm Andy. Nice to be here and really appreciate it. So,
I'm just excited to be here with all these guys. Mario, Andy.
All right.
Mark. Good times.
Now we loved each other enough.
Yes.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So
Now we're good
let's go. So
started.
let's talk about a little bit about Mike. Many of you guys know that he has a color set out, which were his essentials to work with, or his favorite colors, and there's something very new coming out which nobody ever has seen yet, and it just got finished about, I would say,
A few months ago? I've been working with it for a few months now.
yeah, so he's working on it a few months, and we just finalized everything. So he's going to talk about it. It's a brand new color set.
Years ago, when we were doing color portraits, it was one of those things that, like Mario was saying, it was one of those things that everybody said was impossible to do. And there was a lot of guys that were doing them. You know, Dino Cook was a great example. You know, somebody we looked up to immensely. And we most of us that were doing it back then, we credit Intense for it because they were the first company that basically had, you know, 19 colors, and they had browns. Most companies didn't have like these flesh tones and browns and stuff like that. So we were able to take those colors and make them our own. So like, you know, we would take the basic 19 colors and then we just went crazy with them and started like mixing our own palettes. And that's kind of like what this sparked from Mario and I having a conversation, I don't even know how long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when I was tattooing his arm, that we needed to do like a color series just because, you know, there's so many people doing portrait work out there now. We wanted to make it a little bit easier for them just to pick up a bottle and go. So when we designed this this set here, it was a little interesting because I mean I was painting a lot at that time too. So this set was it's more of a mud kind of palette. So when people look at it, you don't look at them right away and be like, oh yeah, that's a great skin tone, because there's no one flesh tone. You can't just get a set and a bottle that says flesh on it. You know, flesh is made up of multiple colors. So I mean, whenever you look at somebody.
And we closed the box. It's so good that you can't open it.
I can't get it open, but hey, anyways, so like everybody's skin tone is a little bit different. I mean, we could break this down like crazy if you wanted to. For example, everybody has like reds in their skin, blues, orange. So it's really crazy when I'm doing a portrait on somebody. I kind of go off of their flesh tone. For example, this gets a little confusing, but if somebody has more of an orangish like tone in their complexion, more of my flesh tones will be on the blue side. So like I'll have undertones in blue. So like this flesh tone, I mean everything's kind of dark because they're not all mixed up, was kind of made to go with each other, and white. Like white's the key ingredient. Like if you haven't used Snow White Opaque, you kind of like living under a rock. I mean that's my go-to. I'll pour all my colors and then you'll see behind me there's like 20 rows. I don't know. There's so many cabs.
I invented that, yeah.
Yeah, Snow White. It's awesome.
I stole it from him.
Yeah. So basically, this set is. I mean, you have your darks and your lights, and you basically mix them all together. So the 19 could be endless amounts of colors, but you're basically dipping back and forth from your dark colors into your light colors, into like like your beiges, your sunsets, and your coral, just to make more skin tones, you know. This one was kind of, if you're familiar with oil painting, this is the perfect set for you. I've had so many people, compliment it because it is a lot like an oil palette. But it could be a little confusing for some people at the same time because some people aren't familiar with oil painting. So I'd get a lot of questions like, well, how come you just didn't do just flesh, like all these flesh? So we went back to the drawing board and I was like, all right, and I'm gonna come out with just flesh, and Mario and I talked about it, and the new set is another 19 colors, but when you look at it, it's basically just all different flesh tones. It's not as elaborate as this one with like, obviously these pinks and these reds are very, very close. If you look at those, they don't look like they'd be flesh tone colors, but when they're mixed down with the other ones, your palette becomes endless. So the next one is just basically all flesh tones. And a lot of that strived from the Boris set. I don't know if you guys have used any of Boris's colors, but I fell in love with them instantly when I got them. So it was like, how could I, incorporate some of his colors and my colors together? And then it was just like, holy shit, this is rad. So then it just became more and more and more, and then developed more out of it. And now after getting to mess with Andy's a couple weeks ago, the palette opened up even bigger, and I was just, can't wait to use Andy's more. The greens that he has in his set are crazy. I've never used anything like that before.
Yeah,
I know he'll talk about it, but.
Our purpose in general is like what we really try to work on with all of our products. It's not just the product, we really try to create an endless palette for the artists, because it's very important for us that everybody knows like that we're not limited anymore. I come out from an era, and so does Mark, right? Like with a limited amount of colors, where you can only use 7 colors and that's it. And you start out with the darkest one and you have to finish up with the white. All this is out the window, and this is only because of artists, young artists, and new trials and errors, So the more input we get to make stuff like this, it's like we're creating a bigger palette now, but also we're creating more confusion. Because people really don't know anymore what they want to use or what not if they're not talented enough. It's like going to Cheesecake Factory and you have 400 different menus, you know, so but it's getting better and better now with the artist really directly working on it, that we know specifically what you use this for. So it's like, it's not anymore that you try to have to mix everything. You're gonna go in and you work with Mike's stuff, which is specifically geared towards that direction, like the color portraits and that style. And so you go in, you take that set, you move it in, and you're like in the first row, you know, you don't have, so we really try to give you as much research material on, and new technology that you really can focus on your artwork instead of your, you know, like you have to work it into the skin like crazy.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Any questions for Mike so far?
When is the new one coming out?
Hopefully soon. I know we're working on packaging right now, but it took a long time. We were probably like 2 years.
2 years, yeah, 2
2
years.
years on those ones.
And actually this is a good example what you have seen right now, like how tight we keep all that, you know, I mean, those are artists which work with each other individually, and I think Mark is the first time that he heard that we work on something, so we're getting close to Apple, you know, we do this too, so.
Yeah, it was, so hopefully it's gonna be coming out soon. But yeah, we worked on it for a good, almost 2 years, and, but the first time we did it, I mean, it's really hard when you have 100 and some colors that are already out there, you know, and then you're trying to make something that's you're using and it's geared directly towards what you're trying to achieve. So it took us a long time to make it, and then I was super happy as soon as we got them done. And then back with Mario, I mean, Mario was, you know, lab geeking it out, trying to match everything that I made, and they're perfect. And I've been using them for the last month, and that's all I've been tattooing with. Aside from a week ago, I got to try some of Andy's out. I don't even think he got to use them yet, but I had to open them. I saw that he had the set. I was like, "Hey, can I try that?" he was like, "Sure, go ahead, here." And like, I fell in love with the greens that I got to use on his, because everything's so different. You know, like coming from, you know, I think I was like one of the first sets I got from Mario was, oh man, I don't even know, 12, 13 years. When did you start the company?
10 years ago.
10 years?
11 years in now, yeah.
11. So like I remember the first set that I got from him, it still had saran wrap on the bottles and stuff and on the lid. And I remember taking it back, and it was like, the first time I tried it, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I gotta see what this is all about. And now to see where the company's gone is just insane. I use it all the time. I love it. And the progression. So I know like once I get my hands on Andy's full time, it's gonna be another set coming, because I'm gonna start doing something else, and then I'll call Mario and be like, "Hey, I got some more colors for you."
We try to figure it out. We work for you guys. Let's jump to Andy for a second, that he talks a little bit about his stuff. It's a very new, unique set what's coming out. There's color shades in there which really don't exist anywhere. You know, it's an amazing set. I mean, those are essential colors what he uses. And it took forever to make him. He's very, very detail oriented what he wants and what he does with it. And he's gonna elaborate a little bit how he works it. Also, all our new stuff what comes out now it's coming with educational material automatically. So whatever we bring out, we bring the educational booklet with it. We're making videos with it, training videos. So, and it's not that anything has to be purchased on that. That's coming with the product, because we believe that you should know how to use it when you buy something. You know, I mean, our job is to create great artwork and tattoo pieces, you know, but we also need to give you guys the best tool that you can use it like that. So, and Andy's is coming, I think, with a 2-hour video, right?
Yeah.
So Andy's set, when the people start buying it and when it's available for the people, it's basically coming with a booklet which explains his colors, how they're built, how he works it, not only pictures and print, but also a 2-hour full instructional work. So you're gonna go from start to finish, where he uses all the colors, how he lays them out, how he works with them, how they blend with each other. So it's really a lot of information, you know. I mean, it's great. I kept watching it, and it's helping a lot. So, Andy?
All right, so we have a 9 color set, and it's included 3 black and gray tones, black tones, black and gray tones, and 16 colors with 3 different skin tones. So, especially for the black and gray, I want to create it really easy, because that's actually what I'm using. We have one really dark black, which you can use for lining and for filling, and it's really dark. It's a pretty nice dark black, and We have a shading black, which means it's black, but it's not really black. It's dark enough that you can build up a really good value in the picture. And one gray wash, what means it's 30-35% of the shading black. So that's actually what I'm using. It's just a really dark black and a shading black, a gray wash, and just a cup with water. So you can mix wherever, in each way, where you want it, where you want to do it. And on the booklet we also show some pictures with healed pictures of the color of the tattoo, what we did on this set. Because I think it's really important that you see, or that everybody see, how it heals, how it looks like when it's healed. Because many guys are really scared about, oh, it's too dark after tattooing. Of course it have to be dark, that it works after 1-2 years. It lighten up from itself, so don't worry about that. Because if you start tattooing or shading a portrait, maybe with the gray wash, so it's a really light gray wash. It's not too light, but it's pretty light, and you don't have to be worried about that it's too dark, because different skins looks darker, lighter, whatever. So it's really easy to use. It's not too complicated, and not with 7-8 different gray wash tones, because I'm thinking always, if you step backward and forward while during tattooing, it makes no sense to make too many different values. So I like it easy, and I always have these 3 kind of black and gray washes for my black and gray work. And the same what we did in the set with the skin tones. So we have 3 different skin tones, really natural, but you can use it and mix it with each other together. So we have a really natural skin tone. It's really looks like normally white skin. We have a really nice flesh tone, what I missed. And you can mix this together, make it a little bit warmer, make it a little bit colder with the cream, maybe, probably. And I like this especially for that, because it's really easy to use it. You don't have to use white if you're using the skin tones, because we have all colors are dark, medium and light. So the really natural skin tone is 4 colors. It's dark, medium, light and extra light. So you don't have to use the white in the face. You just can use the white for the highlights in the eyes, in teeth, lips, whatever. So you have the chance to create and build up the picture just with that flesh tones. And you don't have to mix it with white. You can if you want. And you can dark it up with maybe raw umber or rusty brown. Rusty brown is very good to dark it up. And all that we show on this booklet and on the video. So I create a picture just for that video, which I can use every color, black and gray. We have also red and plum inside, a really dark plum, really dark, especially for maybe blood or something like that, if you want to create a blood drop or anything, or lips. Then a plum tone and a really nice dark red tone. So, and what I always like to do is in the picture working a little bit with complementary colors. So that's why we have the green tones and yeah, really light green tones. Yeah, I think Mike liked it a lot.
I do.
Yeah, so that was the main idea, that we create a set who is really easy to use. Doesn't matter if it's the black and gray, it's really simple, 3 tones, just the black, gray wash, and shading black. And also with the skin tones, just you can use it straight, each line, or you can mix it together, whatever you want to create on the picture. And also for the blood, for lips and stuff like that, we have the the red and the plum tones. So really excited to use that set. We're working a long time on that, mixing with Mario.
So, I mean, it gives you an idea how individual the artists really are, you know? I mean, they're in the same style of work, but prefers not to use any whites, as Mike wants to have a lot of white. You know, Mike comes from an area where he wants to break everything down and make it in the cap. I remember his era was like that. They were the first ones really that came out, and they had like 50 color caps on the table, and I was like, what the hell is this? You know, and then it pours everything in and starts mixing and does everything. So, and then you have Andy on the other side who just lays it out very specifically, and it says like, this is what I want to use, and I'm not going to add anything to it. They both have great results, so it shows whatever feels good for you, just do it. You know what I mean? It's like, and then it comes to the point that they need to have individual colors, which brings us to Mark with a very specific gray set, which we have worked on. I mean, Mark's style is very distinctive. I'm pretty sure that most of you know that. He has a very soft gray, which is untouched from many, many people. You know, it's just coming out of the shop, and it's just, it was very difficult to create a color set or a black and gray wash set where the lines are not black, you know, because we were working in the years before to make everything really solid black. So it was like, okay, the line has to be really black, the shading has to be really good, but it didn't work in that because every time we tried to rip off Mark's work, it didn't look like his, you know, so we needed to figure out somehow how we can get a better result for that, and that made us start working with Mark.
And I tortured these guys, you know, with that particular light gray or whatever that's probably, you know, whatever the thing that people notice about my tattoos is this, you know, like, you know, you try to make it pearly, light. I tortured these guys. I must have sent particularly the light gray, he'd send it out to me, the new formula. I'd try it, too dark, send it back. 15 times to get lightning, and lightning is ready to kill me. But that was just one of the things that you know, I was a stickler about. And people have been coming to me for a long time, you know, asking me to endorse this product or this TV show or this clothing line. And, you know, I mean, I'm a tattooer. That's what I do, you know. You know, I don't sell tennis shoes, I don't sell I'm a tattooer, you know, and Mario's a tattooer, and that's why it's the first person that I would, you know, consider doing this kind of thing with. And, you know, people are lucky today. When I got to the Pike in 1980 and worked for Colonel Todd and Bob Shaw, I would buy, you know, color from them, from Colonel Todd. And he'd go in the back, and he had his the locker, and he'd open it up, and it'd tell me a little red, a little green, or whatever. And then I was in the back room making needles one day, and I saw him come in, and he goes to another locker to get his stuff out. I'm like, wait a minute here, you know, I'm buying the shit from this locker. What's up with this? Oh yeah, this is the secret shit. So like, I think him and Bob Shaw, and I don't think, maybe he let Rick Walters in on that, I'm not sure. But like, not even everybody at Berg Grimm's got to use that. That was the private stash, you know, and people are lucky today that they can get into the private stash, you know. That's a real cool thing, man. I was left out in the cold in 1980, man. But yeah, it's super interesting how, I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of with the set is that, you know, my personal, you know, person that I think is the greatest of black and gray and like the founding father to me is Freddie Negretti. And I see how using my set, which he uses exclusively, that's all he uses, has like transformed his work. And like I said, he was always my favorite before, but it kind of added a whole nother dimension to his tattooing. And also, you know, he changed the way he, you know, like he tattoos more of a modern style, but I still outline and then shade, you know, and Freddie will work his way up now with shading and with the gangster gray. And, you know, he uses it in a totally different manner than me. And that's the cool thing about it, is that you can find how it works best for you, you know. Like if I'm gonna do a portrait, I'll put out the dark, medium, and light. And that's why I started doing a formula like that before. There were times when I worked in East LA where all my work would come back and it would look kind of dark, you know, and then I'd go in the other direction, and all would come back kind of light. So, you know, that's when I was mixing it up as I tattooed. But once I made the 3, and I made a conscious effort of having dark, medium, and light in every tattoo, and then if you want to put some dark cuts and a little white in the end, the finished product came back looking better, you know. But, you know, I still will outline. If I'm doing a portrait, I'll go in with the single needle and even just a light gray and do the tops of the eyelid and just mark in where the lips are and the nostrils in case you lose the pattern as you're going along. And it just works, you know, it just goes in so fast and so smooth that when I started using the gangster gray, it made my tattooing faster, and I'm kind of slow. So it's, you know, I'm sure my customers are happy that it just goes in so easily and so smoothly that it kind of, you know, improves the groove there. I'm not a big guy for the white, you know, in East LA in the old days, me and Jack and Mike Brown were like, you gotta try and do it so you don't need the white, so the skin will, you know, so you have enough contrast where the skin works as white, you know. And so if you've got the exact right skin, you can do that, but, you know, I know now that you need to put a little bit of white and you have to be judicious about it. But this is it's amazing what this little box, this array of stuff that you can do from, you know, like cement, bricks, and, you know, castle or urban city to, you know, a portrait of a baby girl, you know, it's this whole gamut of things, and depending on how you do it with water or a little white, it can be cool, it can be warm. It's a pretty amazing set. I'm proud of it.